So, hi, welcome to the show. Welcome to the seminar today. We're calling this Unleash Your Creative Self, right? And the point of today's session is to hopefully unleash some of this creativity so we can get a little deeper into how we can expand our creative selves. But before I do that, let me do this. Let me introduce myself, okay? My name is Tasos Constantinou, but don't do that. Most people just call me Taz. It's simpler, yes, like the cartoon character. It's simpler, it's shorter, and it's catchy. And that way you get to remember who I am. Now, I'm not going to tell you too much about me. The thing that we really need to focus on, I think, is my professional side of life. And I do 3 jobs. One is I'm a team trainer, meaning I find teams and I train them dynamically into whatever it is they need to get better at. Cool, this is usually corporate or even just friends. 2, I'm a personal coach, meaning I help individuals get past any obstacles they have in their life, whether that's professional, personal, romantic, and so on and so forth. And 3rd, I'm a stand-up comedian, okay? What I love about these 3 roles is that basically they all force me to be creative one way or another. I feel blessed in this respect. For team training, I have to understand what drives that team. I have to understand what they want, and understanding who they are, I can then incorporate that into how I creatively come up with solutions for them. As a personal coach, same. Each person believes their problems are special, and it requires a different perspective on how to actually help them get over it. And as a stand-up comedian, I think it's pretty obvious. I write and execute jokes, which is another creative side. Each of these roles has nothing to do with each other. They all expand my creative limitations in different ways, and I'm grateful for that, and I've put them in my life deliberately for this purpose. Now, speaking out of experience, no matter what hat I wear, I have found that creativity and failure always go hand in hand, okay? No matter what idea you're gonna come up with, no matter what the new thing is, anything that you do, the first try is usually never enough. Because if you come up with an idea today, it's highly likely that you're going to look back at it a year from now and call yourself an idiot. And that's good. It's progress. You're growing, right? And I'm going to prove that with one little experiment. So first thing I need you to do is get a pen and paper. Can you do that? Can we all get a pen and paper? I'll just give it 30 seconds. That's too much time. So once you have that little notebook, yeah, I want you to draw a cross on it. Nothing religious. It's just we're going to play a little game. If you don't have a pen and paper, you can obviously do this on your phone. Okay? So what we have now is technically we have 4 boxes. And in the first box right here, I'm going to give you 10 seconds, and I need you to draw a house. Okay, so let's kick this off. You have 10 seconds. Draw a house. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Pens down, pencils up. Anything you're doing up. Cool. All right, moving on swiftly. In the second box now, I need you to draw another house, but completely different to the first house that you drew. You have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. Good. Moving on swiftly now to the third box. Guess what? You're drawing another house. And you have 10 seconds for that house. Different to the other 2 houses. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And guess what? Spoiler alert, in the fourth box, you're not going to draw a 4th house completely different to the other 3 houses that you already drew. You have 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Here's the point. Now, I know you don't have cameras. Normally, I would ask you to show me what you've done. But given you most of you don't have cameras, maybe whoever does have a camera can sort of just hold it up to the screen for a second. Theo, your green screen is kicking in. Fantastic. Is that a boat in number 4? Is that a boat? Super. Love it. The whole point here is, no matter what idea you're coming up with, if you just keep reinventing it, you'll make it better. The fourth idea is usually shit. The first idea is usually shit. The fourth idea is usually gold. Yeah? We have this really bad complex in Cyprus and all over the world where if we have a good idea about something, we hold it secret and we don't tell anybody about it. We're like, shh, I'll tell you, but don't tell others just in case it gets stolen. Bullshit. The point here is if you keep sharing your idea, you will build on it. The worst thing to do is to start with a blank canvas. The blank canvas is just empty. It's too much freedom. It's too much creativity. So the best thing that you can do is you take your little paintbrush right across that canvas and then start from there, right? And that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to basically ask you to draw a shape, not the red brush. I'm going to draw a shape. This is the shape. I want you to draw a circle, just like that. And then in that circle, I want you to put a little rectangular shape, just like that. And I'm going to give you a minute to come up with 10 designs, 10 shapes, 10 pictures, anything that you want to draw, starting with this shape right here. Go. You have 1 minute from now. This is the shape we're working with. You can flip it upside down. You can do whatever you want with it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Stay creative. Stay out of the box. Maybe you can get some animals out of that. I have no idea. I'm really bad at drawing. Irini, hi. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
So you have a pen and paper? If you could do this really quickly, if you have a pen and paper, draw this shape on your pen and paper, and then from that shape, try to design other ideas, drawings, paintings, whatever it is you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's almost a minute now. Okay, and stop. Irini, I know that's not fair to you. If you want to keep going, go ahead. Can I see some of the ideas? Can you flash them to the camera for me? What is that? Oh, a person. That's clever. A tree, more trees. What is that? A fountain? Fantastic. The whole point is I would never even personally be able to come up with these ideas, okay? It's not about their shape. It's about putting something on the canvas, right? Because no matter what idea you come up with, you can always make it better and you can always build upon it, and that's the point here. Now, these can also be measured by what we refer to as creativity metrics. Creativity metrics are basically used in tools where people can give you some judgment of your creativity level. And it's usually just got dimensions like the ones we see here. The first one that we literally just tackled is called abstraction. Abstraction is the creativity capability of being able to take something, a concept, an abstract concept, and from that concept, create something. You just did it with the drawing. You also just did it with the house. I gave you two contexts. The first context was draw a house. Now, a house obviously is stereotypical perspective. We all think we know what a house is. Obviously, depending on the country you're in, the house idea looks different. And so you can see that there's a lot of socio-cultural limitations to that guide us in the way that we abstract an image or an idea from the concept of house. The other exercise was a bit more specific. I created the limitation of giving you specific shapes to expand on, to abstract from, yeah? And then you came up with new ideas and designs. Now, the second dimension is called connection. But in order to do the connection, we're gonna play a game. Welcome to the connection game. The connection game here is going to be a little exercise that we're going to do, and this is going to be a little bit more competitive. The point of the connection capability is to be able to find connections between seamlessly unconnected concepts, right? We're going to play a word game. I'm going to give you 3 words, and I need you to find at least one word from those three words that connect the three words. Yeah? Hold on, I'm seeing a message. Is it possible somehow to see you larger than anyone else, or is it something I should do on my PC? There is the option of the speaker view on the top right of the Zoom. Okay, if you click speaker view, you should be able to see me. Cool? Now, I wanted to simply show off that I do have this little function right here, so I can see what you guys are writing. Now, the important part is that I want you to speed answer. So I'm going to give you three words, and those three words are going to show up here, right on top of me. Okay? Once I give you those three words, I want you to find another word that connects those three words, right? So we're going to have 3 rounds of this, and I need you, fingers on keyboards, be ready. Whoever gets the answer first gets a point. Okay? So let's go. The first 3 words are green, dirty, and notes. What's the word that connects them? This one's pretty easy. Write it in Zoom. Write it in Zoom. No, it's not grass. I don't know how you have grass notes, but okay. Bean hashtag, why the hashtag? I don't even know. I'm really curious. Okay, green beans, dirty beans, bean notes. Oh, it was a mistake. Okay, fine. Go ahead. What's the word that connects these 3 words? Money. Fantastic. Thank you. Who is that? Theo? Fantastic. This one was an easy one. Okay? Theo gets a point. Let's move on to the second one. Fingers on keyboards. Let's go. Okay? First one was money. Next set of 3 words. Connect them. Instinct, balloon, and training. I need one word that connects these 3 words. Come on. Test your creative self. Party instinct, balloon, I get it. If there was party training, I would love to be a part of that. Expanding instinct. Interesting enough, Jessica. I like where you're going, but there's something a lot more obvious here. You don't get it? It's animal. Animal instinct, balloon animals, and training animals. Okay? So it's animal. Nobody got that one. I like the killer approach here. So the last set is basically a little more tricky, and it's tree, trump, and sunset. What's the word that connects these 3? God. Oh, God connects us all. God connects us all. Yes. Let me hear your guesses. Orange. Fantastic. Jessica, you got it. It's orange. You got an orange tree, you got an orange Trump, and you got an orange sunset. Orange Donald Trump, if you didn't get that yet. Okay? So, orange. Fantastic. Jessica, you have expanded your connectivity, creativity. Okay? Which is just one more dimension of how you can actually measure yourself creatively by connecting seamlessly unconnected themes, concepts, ideas. Cool? So let's move forward. Some of the other ideas, some of the other dimensions that you can measure yourself creatively is 1, your curiosity. Curiosity goes beyond the norm. Most people can find something and basically go, oh, this is what it always is. This is what we expect it to be. Where a curious person becomes to think, how can I make it better? How can I improve it? Maybe the idea is completely wrong. Now, obviously, you can have that curiosity, but if you don't have the guts, the boldness to dare to bring new ideas to the table, to dare to stop worrying about what other people think about you, then it does go completely to waste. So the level of boldness that you have to make alternative suggestions is another measure of your creative self. Next one, paradox. Let's stick on this one a little bit. Paradox is the idea, the concept of being able to balance two completely contradictory ideas in your head at the same time. Let's take a look at an example. The second sentence is false. The first sentence is true. Now, if the second sentence is false, the second sentence is the first sentence is true. If that's false, then the first sentence ends up being false. But if the second sentence is false, then the first sentence is true. And if the first sentence is true about the second sentence, you understand what we've gotten ourselves into. This is the paradox. Now, you may be thinking that this is too academic, too theoretical. It's not. Paradoxes are in our everyday lives. If you want an example, you got to spend money to save money, right? There's no rules. There's only one rule, that there are no rules. Or if I only know one thing, it's that I know nothing. All these are paradoxes. You know, deep down, you're really shallow, right? We do this every day, every time. The fact that we can get to communicate with paradoxes, that we can understand paradoxes, is actually really important. Next one, complexity. Complexity is having loads and loads of information and being able to find the relationships between each one of those little facts, theories, ideas, and so on and so forth. The more complex an issue, the more creativity you actually require to have it all organized in your head and be able to manage that information. Next is persistence. Persistence is, even though you find something that works, you can continue to push and find something better. So don't be satisfied. Don't suffice with things. Keep pushing the boundary. And that is another clear measure of a creative self, someone who's always daring for something more and has the boldness and eagerness to actually persist and get it done. Cool? And last but not least is perspective. Now, perspective is my favorite one. I'm a social scientist. I'm within social sciences. And if there's one thing that I've learned through social sciences, is that there's usually no such thing as fact. This isn't physics, this isn't math, it's not applied science, which means there's no actual scientific experiments that show without a doubt that this is absolutely wrong or absolutely correct. It's social science. It's a science of people. And with people, there's variables. Everything keeps changing. One thing can be one way and then be another way the next day. So what I've learned within social science with perspective is that usually with situations, with discussions, with arguments that have to do with humans, the smartest or most intelligent person in the room is usually just the person who's heard the most opinions, yeah? Because they've actually have a more expanded perspective on what the issue is, on how it's perceived. There are 8.2 billion people in the world. Go ahead, ask questions. The way that I go forward is I ask questions. If I find somebody who has a completely different perspective from mine, a completely different opinion, I ask questions and then I listen. All I do is listen. You can go to parties, you can go to social events. Well, not now because of COVID. But what you can do is you can find discussions that stimulate sort of alternative opinions and sit there and contribute to it. But don't get angry. Don't get emotional. Stay objective. Bring up the actual controversial issue, but then stay out of it emotionally just so you can collect the alternative opinions around it. And trust me, when you do, not only are you more creative, you're actually more educated. Because not all these things about social issues are taught in any sort of school because they're just everyday life sort of situations. The more you learn, the more creative you get. Simple. And obviously, it's in your favor. At this point, we are at a time of change. COVID has just done a whole bunch of mess to the entire world. And during a time of change, it is in your favor to maintain a generalist sort of standpoint. Don't specialize on anything because it can become obsolete in a matter of clicks, right? And obviously, diversity is your friend. But here's the question. How do I become more diverse? How do I expand myself? Well, the first answer usually that people give is the good old airport, right? Being able to travel. Now, I would love for everyone here to have the opportunity to travel. I think we all miss it. I think going to other countries is just a stereotypical idea of how I can learn new things and how I can see and new people and new ways of life. And I think that makes sense. But if we really look at it, every time we travel, what exactly are we doing? Okay? What does it take to be able to learn while being abroad? Because obviously, I think you all understand if I say that some people go to different countries and they don't learn a thing. Why? Simple. Because when they do go to that other country, they simply find other like-minded people such as themselves, and they stick with that group. They find a comfort zone. But if you are to adapt, if you are to learn, there's two things you need to do. One, resourcefulness, and the other is cultural adaptation. Resourcefulness is being able to, no matter where you are, no matter how unfamiliar it is, you see what you got. Whether that be technology, whether that be an acquaintance, a map, maybe you know a language that can help you out. Anything that you have, you can use to create the new you. And once you're abroad, that new you is the you in that country, is the you in that city. Cultural adaptation, I think, is simply put, is how you adapt to the way of life of different places. Make sense? If you don't, you end up being kind of a weirdo, I guess. Or you stand out, maybe not in a good way. But what's for sure is that you are not expanding yourself. You are literally limiting your creativity to whatever it was before you even traveled. And the point is, no matter where you go in the world, there's something to adapt to. Each country, each mentality has some way of having fun, letting loose. And I think it makes sense if I say that the best creativity comes while you're having fun, not when you're being serious. And I think you know that each country lets loose. And one of those ways that they do it is usually alcohol. Now, I don't think it's going too far to say that Europe is primarily alcoholic. Yeah, we have a lot of alcoholic cultures, whether it's France with their wine, Germany with their beer. I think the UK has both wine and beer and everything else because they're just alcoholics in the front row. And that's what they do. They basically just drink and they vomit, and then they get all together and they just drink and they laugh, and then they vomit and they drink and they laugh and they vomit, and it just keeps going until they eat something and they feel a little better, and then they drink some more, and it keeps going. And in the meantime, the Netherlands is just watching everybody going, these people are hilarious. But that's not the point. The point here is cultural adaptation. No matter where you go, it's a culture thing. Even when I was in France, I was a connoisseur. When I was in the UK, I was an alcoholic. And when I was in the Netherlands, I took naps. Makes sense. I don't do that anymore, but it's me adapting to the culture that I'm in accordingly. And trust me, there's always something to adapt to as you see fit. But given its culture we're talking about primarily, you don't need to travel to find another culture. Culture is everywhere. You can be in the same country and you can basically try new cuisines. You could even go to themed bars where there's a completely different vibe. You walk in, everyone's playing a role, they're dressing up, there's some idea going around, and you have to quickly adapt to it. Harry Potter fans can easily understand that. If you get into the Harry Potter or into the Lord of the Rings mentality, there's a whole language, there's a whole world, and you immediately adapt to it. Why? Because it's fun, and you're being creative in the process. You can go to agro-tourism, go hang out with some old people. You'll love it. They will show you and teach you so much. You will put yourself outside of the comfort zone, and it will definitely be an experience. The point here is just avoid the same old. Even if you don't want to go to agro-tourism, even if you don't want to go to that new bar or that new whatever, you can go to the same places, but with different people. Each person brings something new to the dynamic of the group. You can go to the same building, but a different room. I've been to companies where each floor had a different culture. Each office had a different culture, highly dependent on the people that were there. And here's where I would say yes to party invitations. Even if you don't know them, even if it's awkward, say yes. and go, right? Because you get to meet people, you get to do something new, and you get to expand yourself. And trust me if I say, alcohol usually helps cure all sorts of lameness. Now, I know I'm really not supposed to talk about alcohol. I know I'm supposed to say things like, don't drink, focus on school, be good. But I'd rather not do that. I'd rather be straight with you and understand that even if I say don't drink, even if I say do drink, you're going to drink. It's not on me. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather share my experiences. Okay? A smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So I'm going to give you a few tips about drinking and partying that I think will help you. For example, if you're drinking and partying, it's not about that night. The mistakes aren't about that night. The mistakes are for the day after. If you have to be at class at 9 in the morning, that's an issue. If you have to see your parents the next day, that's an issue. So I'm going to try to help you get through that with my personal experiences. Rule number 1, drink water. Okay? Through your drinking, have some water. Have a glass of water now and then, and your head will thank you in the morning, I promise, okay? And also, it can get you away from police situations and any of that because it keeps you legal. So find a chance whenever you're drinking to get some water in you. 2, ladies, if you're going out and you know you're drinking, maybe put a hair tie or a scrunchie on your hand just in case you're gonna vomit, okay? I don't think it's science to say this, but if you do vomit and it does get in your hair, you're taking that shit with you home. And it's gonna continue to trigger the same nauseous effects. Have the hair tie, trust me, I've learned the hard way. Next, guys, ladies, if you're drinking beer and you get to the point where you have to break the seal and you don't because you don't wanna keep going to the bathroom, just do it. Break that damn seal. Why? 1, it'll keep you walking. You'll keep going to the bathroom and it'll keep you energetic. It'll keep you alive. Your blood will keep flowing. Plus, you get some of that beer out and it'll make you feel better, okay? So don't worry about the seal. Break it immediately. Next, if you do end up getting hangover, right? You have a hangover the next day, avoid coffee, avoid tea, just water and pee. Avoid coffee, avoid tea, just water and pee. It's not science. It really works. It really works. And you'll get over it in no time. Now, if you're one of those people that's going to tell me that I've never had a hangover, I'm one of those people, wait till you're 30. I promise you don't get away with anything. Next, I want to talk about what you can and cannot mix in alcohols. Now, we have wine and beer as the stereotype. With wine and beer, nothing else goes except food. You drink your wine, you eat the food. You drink your beer, you eat the food. Don't mix any spirits. Cool? I think that should make sense. Next, I'm a whiskey drinker, and I have to admit that whiskey is a loyal drink. So if you're drinking whiskey, keep it to whiskey, right? No juices, no anything, just on ice. If you're not a whiskey drinker, you're not a whiskey drinker. If you are a whiskey drinker, please be informed that your breath smells like shit after you've had whiskey. So if you're going out and you want to kiss somebody, maybe you don't have whiskey, you can have anything else that has some fruit in it or makes you a little bit more desirable. Cool? On that note, ladies, I should tell you that if somebody is buying you a drink and it has brown sugar in it, you should totally know that there's an intention behind that. Let's just say it gets you in the mood, right? So a lot of bartenders give a lot of women at bars free drinks with brown sugar in them because that way they become more inviting to the male participants, let's say. Okay, now let's talk about the things that you can mix. And here they are, the whites, vodka, gin, and rum. Now, vodka and gin does work. It does mix well. It makes nice martinis. Rum and vodka does work, but rum and gin doesn't. There's a huge contradiction on the palate of taste, which basically means I think vodka is the common ally. Yeah. Yes, I do believe we should have more friends when we go out, and we should strictly keep this to the white sort of repertoire. You see, Russians are friendly. And I think that's why they did it. So vodka is actually the only drink that goes with everything. And you should keep it to whites. And that shouldn't be the only thing that you should be racist about when you're coming to drink. Because tequila, hey man, listen up to me, man, okay? If you decide to go down this path. If you go down this path, anything that went down your path is coming back up, man. So you have to really know that if you make this decision, the night is over. You understand what I'm saying? It is over. So I would say either you're in or you're out. I would say avoid it, especially the shots, especially if you've had anything to drink other than tequila. Now, I also shouldn't be saying this. That's why we're going to keep it on the down low. If for whatever chance you find yourself in a situation where it's illegal to smoke, and I don't mean cigarettes, if you're in the Netherlands, if you're traveling somewhere and this comes upon you, I only have one piece of advice. There's only one correct order. If you're going to drink and smoke, I would say don't drink and then smoke. Smoke and then drink. You'll avoid vomiting and you'll basically be in a better mood. If you drink then smoke, you're getting yourself in some trouble. I didn't say that. Shh, it's not in the recording. Moving on. Now, I know what you're thinking. Taz, what about my grades, right? That's the point of everything. How do I get the good grades in school? Well, there's a pretty easy solution to that, and I'm just going to give you it because I don't believe education is limited to the classroom. When you go to the classroom, find one of these things. This is a digital recorder. It's on Amazon right now, literally for just 30 euros. You buy it, you take it to the classroom, you show your teacher, hey, sir, do you mind if you place it in front of them, and then you record the entire session. What this allows you to do is, number one, you can sit back. You can do nothing. You don't even have to take notes because it's all there. At the end, when you have an examination, you can simply replay the recording of every lecture that you've ever went to. And you have the entire year's curriculum on your little digital recorder. Two, you can actually be an oral learner. I don't mean oral, I mean oral, meaning you're not a good reader. And this is high likelihood with the next generations right now. If you prefer to learn something while listening to it, this will definitely help you. But you know what the best part is? The best part is that if you're recording the session, you're not taking notes. And if you're not taking notes, you can raise your hand and ask questions. And once you ask a question, you cover a gap. If that works, do it again and again and again. Just be the question guy, okay? Just keep asking questions. The important thing here is that once you're leaving the classroom, you have zero gaps of knowledge. And that way, you can dedicate your time to more creative outlets. Make sense? I hope it should. Because all it comes down to at the end of the day is motivation. To be creative, you need to be motivated. If you're simply thinking about your schoolwork, it's clearly going to block you from doing anything else. So find a way to keep class in class, school in school, but beyond that, once you leave that door, find other ways to be motivated. And that's on you. Your creative outlet should always have a means to an end. What am I aiming for? What is the point of this? Once you know what your end goal is, then there are numerous ways, numerous channels to get to that end goal, depending on whatever it is you want to do. If you're a writer, if you're a poet, if you're a comedian, if you like writing jokes, if you like writing music, there are so many channels in that direction. I heard this one story and I was really, really inspired by it, by a friend of mine who saw this picture. Now I want you to look at this picture. And if I was to ask you right now, looking at this picture, what kind of story could I come up with? If I was to look at it and go, what song would I write? If I was to look at it and go, what's their name? Yeah? What exactly happened for them to get there? He actually ended up writing a short story about the mythological creatures that are stuffed animals and how they communicate with actual animals. And through that cooperation, and only that cooperation, can stuffed animals protect children while they sleep. And he wrote a 2-page story, just like that. And he's a writer, so he told me this idea of the way that I get triggered to write stories is by looking at random photos online. And once I have that premise, I can then apply it and begin to write in any direction that I see fit. But the limitation, again, the context, is the photo. So I would dare you now to look at this photo or any other photo and begin to draw a direction. If I wanted to what? if I wanted to write a joke, if I wanted to write a song, if I wanted to what. And I want you to move in that direction. Apply your creative self. Yeah. It's not just about that photo. It could be anything. The way that you approach problems can be creative by simply looking at the positive side of everything. There's this great little tip from Theo Paphitis. He's one of these Cypriot entrepreneurs who's now a millionaire in England. And he had this phrase about oxygen thieves, where he would say, if I'm giving you a problem and you come to me and you keep pointing out more and more problems and you don't make alternative suggestions, then you are stealing my oxygen. Anyone can pose problems. Creative people can come up with solutions, even if they're stupid ones, because at least that way it's an effort towards finding the correct solution. You drew your first house, and you knew that drawing the first house was not going to be enough. In the same way, if you're trying to solve a problem, you better be sure that your first solution to that problem is going to be wrong. But the only way that you can get to the fourth house is by drawing houses 1, 2, and 3. So what I would like you to do for me, I want you to use a photo, use some force of inspiration of whatever that is, and write a story, write a poem, write a song, draw a picture, make a design, make a language. It doesn't really matter. And once you're done, I want you to send it to taz@openbox.com, and I'm definitely going to get back to you. Thank you very much for today. I am done talking. If you have any questions, this is where I give you my time. If not, I shall bid you farewell. Are there any questions? I'm looking at the chat box. Okay. If there's nothing, then thank you very much for your time. I've had a great time. I can only hope you enjoyed it as well. I bid you farewell.